Welcome to my channel. Here are the top 10 craziest iPhone tests that no one should do. Number 10, the bend test. You can actually bend an iPhone if you really try hard enough. Just ask any iPhone 6 user. That's why it's always in your best interest to invest in a case for your phone. But have you ever wondered what happens if you bend an iPhone in half? This content creator did just that, and we have the video to prove it. He dropped his iPhone out of a small plane while recording with it. And although the wind snatched the phone right out of his hand, it miraculously landed back in his hand without any damage. We've all been told not to put our phones in the microwave, but what actually happens if you do? Well, this guy found out the hard way. He put his iPhone 11 in a microwave and turned it on. And although it didn't explode, the phone did get pretty hot. So please don't try this at home. It is safe to say that this is one of the most extreme things that you can do to an iPhone, and it should definitely not be tried at home. And although this guy's iPhone did survive the initial fall into the fireplace, the same can't be said about the second time. His iPhone was completely destroyed after falling into the fireplace a second time. Another thing that you should never do is put your iPhone in an oven. And although this guy only put his iPhone in the oven for a few seconds, the phone did end up getting pretty toasty. So please don't try this at home. Number 9, putting an iPhone in boiling water. Salt water is known to be very bad for iPhones and other smartphones because the salt can cause the battery to drain very quickly. We've all seen what happens if you run over an iPhone with a car in a cartoon, but what actually happens if you do it in real life? Well, this guy found out the hard way. He ran over his iPhone with a car, and although the phone was completely smashed, it was still working. If you want to see more content like this, then be sure to subscribe. So I guess that means that iPhones are basically indestructible. But what happens if you fully submerge your iPhone in salt water? Well, this guy found out the hard way. And although his iPhone did eventually die, it was still working after being submerged in salt water for 5 minutes. A content creator put his iPhone 10 in boiling water for 5 minutes. And although the phone did turn off, it was still working after. However, he did report that the phone did get quite warm during the process. So if you have an iPhone, don't boil it. Number 8, freezing an iPhone. Another popular thing to do is to freeze your iPhone. And although an iPhone will stop working when it's very cold, it will also work again once it's thawed out. One content creator even went as far as to put his iPhone in liquid nitrogen, which is at a temperature of 196 degrees Celsius. The phone was completely frozen solid, but it worked after being defrosted. Number 7, dropping an iPhone from a plane. Have you ever wondered what happens if you drop your iPhone out of a plane? Well, this guy did. Number 6, using an iPhone as a hammer. We've all seen what happens when you use an iPhone as a hammer in a cartoon. But what actually happens if you use an iPhone as a hammer in real life? Well, this guy found out the hard way. He used his iPhone 11 Pro as a hammer, and it actually smashed the display. But the craziest part about this is that he said that the phone was completely dead before this, which means that he had nothing to lose and was simply trying to be a little creative with his hammer selection. Number 5, putting an iPhone in a microwave. Number 4, putting an iPhone in an oven. Number 3, submerging an iPhone in salt water. Number 2, running over an iPhone with a car. Throwing an iPhone into a fireplace. Last but not least, the absolute craziest thing that you can do to an iPhone is throw it into a fireplace. Comment below which of these tests were the most insane. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, and subscribe.